But our next speaker is definitely one of my personal favorites. Her name is Katherine Timpf, and let me tell you a little bit about her. Kat is a journalist and commentator from Detroit, living in Brooklyn, New York. She currently works as a reporter at the National Review, writing columns and satire pieces that demonstrate how government overreach and cultural oversensitivity are basically just ruining everything. She's also a Fox News contributor, making most of her appearances on the Greg Gutfeld Show. Previously, Timpf worked as a reporter for Campus Reform and as a digital editor for the Washington Times, the news anchor for NASA's Third Rock Radio, and as a producer and reporter at Total Traffic Network in Santa Ana, California. Kat's here today to talk to you about the direction this country is headed and what you can do to turn this ship around. Okay, we'll work on it. I know you'll enjoy hearing from this clever, witty, and absolutely hilarious Katherine Timpf. Please bring your hands together for Katherine Timpf. Come on in. You really want it.
Who knew that I love that song? Who knew that I love that song?
If you really want it, you gotta feel it. Get down on it. Come on in.
Who knew that I love that song? I'm serious. I listen to it every day, and I didn't know who knew that. Thanks, everybody. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so excited. Thank you very much. I'm very happy. I'm going to talk for a little bit, and then I'm going to take some questions. This is for you. All right. Yeah, so we all know that feminism is a big issue right now. I talk about it a lot, write about it a lot. But the thing is people are shocked to hear this. I actually consider myself to be a feminist, but an actual feminist. And I think that what's going on right now and being called feminism is more anti-feminist than feminist. So thank you, thank you. It's hypocritical. It's backwards, and it's moving women backwards. It's supposed to be about women being strong. It's supposed to be about equality. And right now, I think more than anything, it's just kind of people saying it's so hard to be a woman and exist, that it's almost impossible to live, and we need to whine and whine. So somebody steps in and does something about it because we're too weak to handle it ourselves. And I'm not trying to say that sexism isn't real. It is, of course, but I don't understand how running around calling everything and its mother sexist and saying that we need help with everything is supposed to help at all. And I mean everything, by the way. Everything's being called sexist. You know, being nice, have you heard of benevolent sexism? Anybody? It's the idea that being nice to women is sexist. Because if men are extra nice, they think they deserve special treatment, and that perpetuates inequality. First of all, I have no problem with special treatment because I'm a woman. Like, I want the seat in the lifeboat, you know? Like, I have no problem. I have no problem with that. But I don't see how hitting both good behavior and bad behavior, saying it's all sexist, is going to solve any problems whatsoever. I mean, to suggest that I should be critical of men who are nice to me sounds like a really good way for, you know, to just like be alone forever. And like, I can't believe a real person wrote it down, first of all. And then second of all was like, this is feminist, and people are saying, yeah. Instead of, you know, talking about important issues, we have, I mean, people talk forever and ever about what to call a group of people. I say you guys, like I'm gonna say you guys a lot. That's obviously a problem because it's sexist or whatever. I've heard that men and women is sexist because it says men before women. There's a blogger that wrote a thing about ladies and gentlemen also being sexist because gentlewoman would be the technical parallel. And if you're not speaking in parallel language, it's just like, it's like, and then you read it, you try and read it, and you're just like, you just start slamming your head against the wall. It's kind of what I do for a living, actually. So there's just a couple of other things that have been called sexist, just a few of the many. Putting your arm around your girlfriend, the phrase boyfriend jeans, the word cupcake, the expression TMI, slow motion, telling a woman she looks tired, which that's offensive. Like, that does mean you look bad. I'm smart enough to know that, but it's people, men hear it too. Spooning is sexist. We need socially conscious cuddling. I've heard that. I like being the little spoon, you know, and like, I'm often the big spoon because my spooning partner is usually my cat, but that's a different story entirely. No questions related to that one, please. That's personal. Okay, sorry. And then man up. You've heard about man up being sexist, right? Because it says it diminishes the strength of women. And this is on, if any of you guys had a college, a campaign at your college, like a inclusive words language campaign that talked about man up. Yeah, it's like, do they not know what an idiom is? You know, it's like, what about that? Like, we need an idiom awareness campaign. Like, I point out, like, if, you know, people say like piece of cake or easy as pie, and I don't see people saying that diminishes the hard work of people in the bakery industry, or, you know, so why is it different? Thank you. A few more, by the way, founding fathers. I read something the other day about founding fathers being sexist. Should be founding leaders. It's like, they were all dudes, though. Like, that's just what happened. It's gotten very much beyond parody. I saw something in the Huffington Post about the word to, like the adverb being sexist, because it's always used to, you know, make women think they're either too fat or too skinny or too promiscuous. Yeah, and the idea of apparently comparing yourself to other people has never occurred to men, which, believe me, I mean, I know plenty of sad, jealous men who hate themselves, you know? Trust me. They definitely do it too. And, you know, what are we doing here? This isn't helping women. This is actively making women look ridiculous. It's making anyone who faces sexism, if they say, hey, this is happening to me, people are just like, well, I've heard, you know, isn't everything, you know? If everything's sexist, nothing is. You look ridiculous, it's hard for people to take you seriously. You know, we can laugh about these things, and I do laugh about them. I have to, so I don't cry. And, but, you know, it doesn't make us look stronger, and strength of women is what feminism is supposed to be about. So, thank you. This is fun. I'm having fun. Okay. So, yeah, it basically communicates that women are capable of handling anything any relatively stable person should be able to handle without any problem. And, of course, I see this as I report on this a lot, and I'm sure a lot of you guys, are familiar with this. It's huge on college campuses. I hear a lot about you know, internet comment sections that are bad places. They are bad places. But something that's equally upsetting to me lately and depressing is a lot of things I can see on college newspapers' op-eds pages. These are things that people spend time writing, which I guess means they think it's important. Some of the things I've read, did you guys hear about the pumpkin spice lattes, a sexist thing? Wrote about it? Yeah. So pumpkin spice lattes, saying that you hate them is sexist because because girls like pumpkin spice lattes, or a lot of girls do, and saying that you hate them is saying that women don't have valuable emotions or valid emotions. So, like, you have to say everything girls stereotypically like, you like, because, you know, how could you handle someone not liking the same coffee flavors as you do and still feel validated as a person? Like, it's crazy. I mean, geez. Like, and I read these things and I'm like, please do not associate me as a woman with this stuff. Like, make fun of my coffee all that you want. Like, I love coffee, but like, if you and your coffee are that emotionally connected, like, that's a separate issue that you should deal with as soon as possible, probably, because there are tougher things out there. I mean, I could go on about this forever, but it's not. The bottom line is these things aren't feminist. They're being called feminist, but they're not. They're embarrassing to me. Thank you. But it's unfortunately not just the op-eds. It's gone far beyond that. It's actually creeping its way into proposed and even some approved policies on college campuses. Earlier this year, there was a group of Canadian professors that claimed that women we're not speaking up as much in class as men because women are conditioned by society to not speak unless a man has spoken first. So these professors are saying, they're not even just writing this like, oh, this is my observation. They're saying, no, this is such a real thing that we need a policy in classes, official school policy, that teachers have to call on women before men in order for women to actually be able to start doing it, like to start talking. Which I would hate, by the way, because like sometimes when I was in college, I go to class and I like didn't read what I was supposed to. And like, it would be horrible to like not have an answer to the question. You're not just like letting yourself down, you're like letting down your whole gender. That's like a little too much pressure. It's, I definitely talked before without a man talking first, but I never thought that made me a hero. But I guess I'm like super brave. I mean, women's, voices deserve to be heard. We should be hearing more of them. But this is like saying, like, quiet down, men. Like, we need to let the little ladies talk first because you're, big, scary man voices, calm them down. And it's not the only example of this either. This one really, really made me sick, too. A doctoral candidate at the University of North Dakota who was a woman, she actually published a paper saying that we should make, STEM courses. The reason more women aren't in math and science, we should make STEM courses, the language of the syllabus, more inclusive to women by making it, it sound like the classes are less competitive. I'm going to read a part from this paper. This is not a joke. There's an opportunity for STEM courses to reduce the perception of the courses as difficult and unfriendly through the language used in the syllabi, and also used as a guide for how to use less competitive teaching methods and grading profiles that could improve the experience of female students. In other words, what she's saying is that women are so weak and incapable, they would actually be scared out of pursuing their dreams because the syllabus wasn't friendly. First of all, whatever that means. Second of all, so men can read the syllabus and it's not like like, I don't know, would the syllabus be like, hi, you're a star and like you're important and everything you think is valuable. Okay, now we're gonna talk about this in the class. Like, I don't even know what that means. I read the paper. She never really explained what it means. She just made it clear that something like that, she thinks, in her opinion, would actually stop a woman from pursuing her dreams. And that is not feminist, okay? That's sexist, and that's infuriating to me, and it should be. And I see a little bit of this with the affirmative consent policies at a lot of colleges. I explain these to older people, and they don't even believe me that this is a real thing. I mean, in the past, feminism was very, like, sex positive. Like, the whole, if I'm going to take a guy home with me tonight, it's none of your business thing. Salt and pepper, I don't know. I'm like a salt and pepper feminist. I don't know if you guys. But it's like, what's being called feminism has moved from don't judge a woman for her decisions, whether they're, get out of my bedroom and all that. And it's moved into, like, okay, women are not capable of articulating their sexual decisions at all. In the past, sexual assault was made up of if a woman said no or wasn't able to say no. Pretty clear. But now you have to get a repeated yes or it's rape. That's assuming that women are never able to say no. It's too hard, It's too hard that the government needs to get involved to tell men and women how they've never met, how they want to be treated sexually, which is crazy. Because it's not even saying people say, yeah, well, we need to change the culture. That's not what they're talking about. They're talking about official policies. It's crazy. And how is that feminist? Every time I see something that's being considered modern feminism, I ask myself that question. And I ask myself that question a lot, to switch gears a little bit when I look at Hillary Clinton. Yeah, I know. She's been somehow running as a feminist, when, if you look at her, she's about as anti-feminist as they come. She talks about how she's been she's going to fight for women, she's going to support women, but she's actively, if you look at what happened in the 90s, she actively worked to ruin the lives of women who accused her husband of sexual assault. She is hoping people don't remember she was bold enough to actually go to, I don't know if you heard about this, to go to one of these college campuses and say that, you know, try to hop on this new affirmative consent, you know, whatever, bandwagon type of deal, and say every woman who accuses a man of sexual assault has the right to be believed. So, like, except for when they accuse your husband, like, what was she saying? Was she saying except for them, or was she saying, oh no, I believe them and it's not a big deal? Like, either way, that's not okay, and she shouldn't be able to get away with running as a feminist. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, it wasn't even just that. These women, I mean, she came out, she called them all kinds of names. She said, you know, who's going to find out? These women are trash. You know, she said, you know, she was calling, you know, I can't even repeat some of the things she said, because they dared to say, you know, that they dared to say that they had been raped by her husband. Okay, she said, you know, there's reports of her threatening them, and you can say, you don't have to, you know, some people say it's a little outlandish, the family killed the cat thing. I don't know if you've heard about that. I don't know. I do a lot of research on Hillary Clinton. But the sheer number of accusations should make anybody think twice before saying, yes, she's a feminist. And it's gotten to the point where it's because, I know why people think it, I get it, it's because we've established, or people have established, okay, if you're liberal, you're a feminist, if you're conservative, you're sexist. Even Bill Clinton had the nerve to come out and say Bernie supporters were sexist, conservative sexist, because, you know, Hillary's had to deal with online harassment. If you look at my Twitter mentions any given moment, you will see so many very mean things, first of all. But second of all, yeah, like, I guess online harassment is sexist, but also, like, preying on young women is kind of sexist too, I think. It's like a little bit worse than that. But he still gets away with saying it because of this idea, feminism equals liberal and conservative equals sexist. It's, you know, I don't even say, like these women, they don't even think about it. Like Lena Dunham, she says she's, you know, don't listen to R. Kelly's music. He's been accused of sexual assault. But then she's out there campaigning for Hillary Clinton. You know, but I guess when you know, how does that make logical sense? But when the whole movement is, you know, built on, you know, a hypocritical premise, I guess logic doesn't really matter. And I see the same thing, this reverse feminism being called feminism, in the way that Hillary's being treated by the media. Have you seen, like, how many times have you guys seen, like, something someone said is sexist against Hillary Clinton, and it's just like, that was very creative. I have no idea how you could have thought of that. New York Magazine, there was a big long piece saying that Bernie's campaign manager was sexist for saying that, to suggest that Hillary's trying too hard. The piece said that it was sexist because, and I'll just read this, it played on long-standing assumptions about how ambition, a quality that is required for powerful men and admired in them, looks far less attractive on their female counterparts, and especially on their female competitors. Okay, believe it or not, there's something that separates good versus bad ambition that has nothing to do with gender. There's the ambition motivated by desire to improve the world, which is good. And then there's ambition that's motivated only by the desire for your own success, which is kind of a turn-off. And there's a lot of evidence suggesting that Hillary falls in the second category. I mean, she's changed her opinions on everything from criminal justice to gay marriage to everything based on what's going to be politically convenient for her. So maybe it has a little bit more to do with the definition of words than the fact that she's a woman. But, you know, we see this all, I'm just, there's, it really never stops. It gets weirder and weirder. I mean, I wrote something about a blogger wrote that it was sexist of some of these Bernie supporters to say that it was kind of weird that Hillary, she keeps hot sauce in her purse all the time, she said. Did you hear about that? They're like, what do you keep in your purse? And she's like, hot sauce all the time. Like, first of all, like, I don't think she, like, carries her own purse, right? So, but she was like, I need to have an interesting answer so people will think I'm likable. But, and so people responded to that with, there was a hashtag, what's in Hillary's purse? And people were like, server wipes, which, right, that's like a topical joke. Thank you. It's not my joke. Guy on Twitter did it. But, you know, it's like, no, she's under the investigation for having hidden incriminating evidence on a personal server and having wiped it clean. These are not sexist tweets. They are topical tweets. You know, and this, how could this blogger not tell the difference? I don't even think they're even trying. I think it's knee-jerk. I think that they said, okay, purse. Purse is a word more often associated with women than men, and so they were using this to associate with Hillary, and then they're like hypersensitive, like sexist, like radar went off and just like started like beeping in her head, and then she just starts like automatically spewing accusations of sexism like a malfunctioning machine. Like that's kind of how I feel when I read a lot of this stuff. Like, it happens all the time. Like, people criticize the way Hillary speaks. Like, her voice is objectively brutal to listen to. It's right? It's objectively brutal. I mean, I guarantee anybody who calls it sexist, like, isn't listening to it to calm themselves down and like enjoy. I mean, make fun of my voice. Like, I don't care. Like, you know, like, I'm a human adult. I have a voice that's kind of strange. Like, I look like this nice little girl, and my voice is more like, come here, little girl. But I don't know. I mean, it's fine. It's really gonna be okay. And then let's just not forget, not just one journalist, but so many freaked out after that moment in the debate. I don't know if you guys watch the debates. I get so excited for the debates. I'm like such a nerd. But because Bernie said, "Excuse me, I'm talking," when she interrupted him. Like, the way that the media, a lot in the media characterized this, you would have thought that he like ran up and started screaming in her face while she was talking and like was spitting on her. Like, that's how it was treated. They were like, he shushed her and that's rude. I'm saying, excuse me, I'm talking is rude. Like, the only criticism that I have of him is that he should have done that more often. She was interrupting him like crazy. And, you know, God, I don't know why. I can't, Bernie. He's so likable, even though everything he thinks is wrong. I was always just like kind of rooting for him a little, like not to be president, but just to like, I don't know, come over and hang out with me sometime. I don't know. But the crazy thing is, you know, like a lot of what we see on college campuses and what these journalists are doing, they think they're doing a service in the name of feminism. But what they're calling out sexism, and that's leading to progress for women. And they're not. That's not what they're doing. They're making Hillary look weak and incapable. I mean, I've even seen, you know, like a lot of people saying, you know, we need we need special language to describe Hillary. You know, don't use these words. Last year there was a group that calls itself Hillary's super volunteers, and they promised to track when the media uses what it considered coded sexist language, which was words like ambitious, insincere, polarizing. Like, she like flat out brags about Republicans being enemies, and you still can't call her polarizing, I guess. Definitions of words don't matter. I mean, people are so caught up and they're saying, isn't it so cool and so feminist and so sweet that we have the first female presidential nominee of a major party? Look at this victory for women. And I see the way she's being covered, and I can't help but notice that we actually might be moving in the wrong direction. I mean, remember by the way, like the jacket costing so much, people were like, we're criticizing her clothes. That only happens to women. And like, I'm like, do you remember like Marco Rubio Bootgate? Like, do you remember that? And that had nothing, at least with the jacket, it had something to do with, oh, this jacket costs a lot of money. She's talking about income inequality. With Marco Rubio, it was just like, his boots are weird. And it was like think piece after think piece. So no, like, dude, come on. I mean, again, this is saying that women need special rules and need special treatment that men don't need in order to do the same things as women, and that's not the way to show strength, and that's not what equality means either. Thank you. Thank you. And these are, of course, a lot of the same people who are saying that, you know, if you're a woman, you have to vote for Hillary and all that, or you're gonna like, just because if you're a man, you can pick, but if you're a woman, you have to vote for Hillary, or you're going to hell, or whatever that whole thing was. And it's like, all right, whatever. Like, I look forward to hanging out with so many reasonable women in hell then, because I'm not voting for her. See, but a lot of people out there would say that I'm being like a jerk, because it's all about caring and it's all about inclusion. Have any of you guys ever been like accused of being insensitive for being conservative? Yeah, basically. You're the cause of feminism inclusivity. I want to show a video. Some of you may have seen it before, but I want to show it anyways. Can we show a quick video? I think, did we prepare for that?
Everybody can be a feminist, really.
More inclusive.
Feminism is for everyone.
Everyone from every different background.
Making sure that it's inclusive.
Campus Reform is a conservative organization.
Yeah. Oh. Oh.
I love how you guys aren't wanted here. We know.
What'd you say?
How you guys aren't wanted.
We're not wanted here? Well, it's supposed to be like inclusive of everybody.
This is a conservative organization. There's a conservative organization.
In other words, they're a group that's conservative.
Yeah.
And so what we are fighting for is not something. Yeah.
All right. Just assuming that based on where I work.
Yeah, we are.
You should know, if you're doing this interview, that they're a conservative organization.
We're just trying to ask people, kind of explain like what feminism means
I just
to you.
want to let you know this is a conservative media site, so I just wanted to warn you.
Do you know that this is conservative? I just want to let you know that it's conservative media.
It's supposed to be like an inclusive thing. Why am I being singled out based on where I work?
Because the place that you work is not inclusive.
You don't know that. You don't know anything about me or my personal beliefs. I'm just being labeled and it's singled out based on a label. I'm a female too. Can I not be a feminist?
There are females.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why am I being excluded based on where I work? I'm just trying to get some perspective on this. I'm just trying to interview people and
You
talk
should
to
read the
them.
website and read like what the comments that people put on our website. That'll give you wonderful perspective.
Sorry, I'm going through the back. Sorry, they're a conservative news outlet, so we don't know if you want to participate in that.
Just trying to talk to some people. We're not attacking anyone. We're just asking questions. Who are we attacking?
We're leaving.
I feel like I'm being attacked. How do you need to warn people about?
It's so you don't.
Like I'm being labeled. Excluded based on a label.
We made an announcement yesterday.
You made an announcement? What did the announcement say?
The announcement said you work with us.
We know. We got it. Thank you though. So like that wasn't very inclusive to me, I feel like. And I was just asking them like what they thought about feminism. That doesn't look inclusive because modern feminism calls itself inclusive, but it does not include all women. It's inclusive only to those who are in the club, okay? It's not inclusive if you say you want to like, oh, I want to be a stay-at-home mom, or I want to do this or that. I can't even tell you how many times I've been called horrible names on Twitter and it'll like by a woman, and I'll click it, and her bio is like feminist. And it's just like, oh, you're stupid. Like she's just calling me stupid. I'm like, that's really kind of not very nice. You know, and the other side, it's what's being called feminism now. It's hypocritical. It's exclusive, makes women look weaker and unable to make their own choices. And you know, I'm sure a lot of you guys have had maybe not an experience like that, but one where you've felt excluded by other women based on your beliefs. And I think it's just important to not care and call BS on these things, because as an active feminist, be a real feminist rather than sitting and passively complaining. And that gets real quick. I'm going to say like what I think the right approach is. It should be about empowerment. One person whose views on it that I really loved was Joan Rivers. She did an interview in the 80s, and they asked her, about being a woman in comedy. And she said, I don't have time to go up to anyone and say, go out and make it in a man's world. I just said, look at me and see you can see what I'm doing. And I love the word doing. Because I think that's what's missing when I think about what feminism has become. It's not celebration of women's strength and what they're doing so much. It is about whining about what's being done to women. And there are a lot of strong women out there, and this needs to be reversed. It needs to be reversed. And I like to get this message out here. I've been hated for it. You might be hated for it. You might be called names. You might be forced out of like a very boring and weird conference that was very not fun and weird. But at least you'll be doing the thing that, really is going to strengthen and support women, which is all women. And then you will stand also on the side of reality and decency, which I think is like the best place to stand. All right, thank you. Yay. All right, I'm gonna take some questions. Do I just like? Okay. Do you want to like? I don't. This part makes me nervous. Hi.
Oh, okay. It's a two-parter, I'm sorry.
Totally.
Okay, the first part. How important do you think it is to use comedy, especially when you're on Fox News, especially when you're writing? How important is it to get your point across?
I think it's very important because people who aren't conservatives will be like, if you're entertaining, then they have a reason that benefits themselves to watch, and then they might like accidentally start to agree with you once they're watching for entertainment. So.
Okay, the second part,
yeah.
Will you be my mentor?
Okay, yeah, dude. I want to be the mentor for the world.
Heck
That's
yeah.
great.
It's like, I tweeted you, and like, I was like, I wear glasses too, and I was like, at Greg Gutfield, don't you agree? And neither of you responded, so I just didn't wear them today.
But you mean a lot to me. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. All right, there's like microphones all over the place.
Hi, I'm Annalise Fritz. I'm from Illinois. I'm a huge fan, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
I had a question about kind of how you said that you're a feminist and I don't know if you classify yourself as a modern feminist, clearly from the video. What do you think is a modern feminist's weakest point? Like, what can you, like, if you had like a one-line thing to say to them that would like kind of like strike down their entire argument?
I would ask them how what they're doing is helping. Like, how is your pumpkin spice op-ed? What did you just help? What did you just do? Or like, what do you want? You know what I mean? Whining is annoying. I mean, it can be funny sometimes, but like, it's annoying. So, yeah, if you press them on a little bit, I don't really think they know, because if you're on a college campus, a lot of times, like, you haven't been forced to defend your beliefs a lot too, because everyone just agrees with you. So. A lot of times they don't even know why they think what they think. Other than that, that's what they've been told to think. So.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Kat. Hi, my name is Samantha. I just had a quick question for you.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you saw the Now This video with Lena Dunham and a couple other individuals on the Girls Show. Did you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, obviously, sexual assault is not an issue that should be brought, it shouldn't be made a political issue, or somehow she managed to make it a race issue as well by saying this is the first time 4 white women have accurately represented anything, which just ticked me off.
Right.
But long story short, I thought a few of us, actually a lot of us, thought it'd be a good idea to kind of make a video in response. So besides just a few statements from a lot of us, what would be some good points to make in that video?
Okay, I think that, the like I talked about a little bit, the feminist view of the affirmative consent thing, I think is sexist, but also like, I'm not pro-sexual assault.
Exactly,
right?
And I thought it was kind of disgusting that she made it a political, like, obviously it can be brought into politics, but it's not a political issue and it's not a race issue. And then I had some random lib commenting on my, on the post that I made when I shared the video, going just crazy. And I totally proved it wrong, and it's a long story. It's amusing to read.
I have people on the internet every day being like, die.
Literally.
And I'm like, hang me.
Yeah. It's okay, like you said.
I think it's great to make the distinction that when you're talking about the political side of it, you're talking about like the policies, like affirmative consent and that kind of thing. Know that I'm not pro-sexual assault. Like, how dare you? I think that's like a good point to make, which I can't believe is a thing that we have to say, but
awesome.
Everyone's cuckoo bananas
Thank
now.
you, and thank you so much for coming as well.
Yeah, I'm having fun. Is there going to be like a voice?
Hi.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Anna.
Hello.
And I wanted to ask you what your thoughts are. The left has thrived off of victimization and creating like a false sense of identity politics have really dominated their approach. It can be outwardly appealing to give in to the feminists, like, poor me, I'm a woman, I'm so the patriarchy. What is the one key to showing women that this interpretation of feminism is damaging and dangerous, and is really, what was like the one thing you would tell them to say this is really damaging to women?
Yeah, I mean, trying to make yourself look as weak as possible is not going to gain women respect. Thank you. When I went through that like Star Wars thing where I made a joke about Star Wars and people were like, I'm coming to your house at this time to murder you and like rape you, I kind of just like I wrote an article being like, I'm not apologizing, and I wasn't really bothered by it. I thought it was kind of funny, because like at the end of the day, it's a movie, bro. Like, come on. I had people write things in response saying, like, slamming me for not getting mad and like demanding that the internet be a safe space. They were like mad at me because I was not a victim and I wasn't weaker, which is insane. That's insane. They like, you know, strength is good, weakness is not good. So just kind of pointing that out, like how is this, you know, how is encouraging people to be victims? How is that making anybody stronger? Which is some of the stuff I say. It's like, duh, but people just don't get it.